Hey, this is Angie Brown from Exam Pro, and we are going to do a quick EFS follow along. So we're going to launch two EC2 instances, connect them both to EFS, and see if they can share files between them from one EFS. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is make our way to the EFS console here, okay? And we're going to get here and we're going to create a new file system. We are going to launch this in our default VPC. You're going to see that it's going to create mount targets for every single availability zone for us here, okay? And so it's also going to use the default security group, okay? And so we're going to go next. And we're going to skip tags. We do have the ability to do lifecycle management, so this is no different than S3, allowing you to reduce costs by moving stuff that you're not using as frequently into infrequent access, so you get a cheaper storage cost there. So that's really nice. We're going to be comfortable with using bursting here. We're going to stick with general purpose, and we're going to turn on encryption. Okay, it's good practice to use encryption here, especially when you are doing the certifications. You want to know what you can encrypt. Okay, and so AWS has a default KMS key for us, so we can go to next here. And we're just going to do a quick review, and we're going to create that file system, okay? So it's going to take a little bit of time here to create that file system, but while that's going, I think we can go prep our EC2 instances, okay? So yeah, it's just going to take a bit of time. So if we are looking at our EFS volume here, we can still see that our mount targets are creating. So let's go ahead and create those EC2 instances. So in the EC2 console, you can get there just by typing EC2. And we are going to launch. We're just going to need to also just attach a user data script here because we need to configure these instances here to be able to use EFS. Okay, so there is this little thing you do have to install. And so we're just going to make that easy here. It's going to install it for both our instances. All right. And so we're going to go ahead and go to storage. And then we're going to go to tags. And we're going to go to security groups. And we're going to make a new security group for this here. Okay. So I'm just going to call it my EC2 EFS SG. All right. And I mean, we don't really plan on doing much with this here. So I'm just going to go ahead and review and launch. And then we will get our key pair here. Not that our key pair matters because we are going to use Sessions Manager to gain access to these instances, okay? So now as these are spinning up, let's go take a look back over here and see if these endpoints are done creating. Now it says they're still creating, but you know, the AWS console, you can never trust it. So we'll go up here and do a refresh here and see if they are done creating, and they are all available, okay? So we do actually have some instructions on how to set these up here from AWS. So if we just click here, it's going to tell us that we need to install this here onto all our EC2 instances for it to work, and we have absolutely done that. And then if we scroll down here, we need to then mount the EFS. Okay, and so since we are using encryption, we're going to have to use this command here. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have to use Sessions Manager to log in and then mount it using the following command, okay? So we're going to go back to our EC2 instances, and we're just going to wait till those status checks are complete, okay? So as these are initializing here, I bet we should probably go set our security groups. So I'm going to go over to security groups here. And I'm going to look for our default one because I believe that's what we launched our EFSs in. I probably should have created our own security group here, but that's totally fine. So it's going to be 2198. Okay. And so that's what we're looking for is 2918. And it is this one here, and it's the default here. Okay. And we're just going to add an inbound rule here. And we have Aurora here from an old follow along here. And so we'll just remove that, and we'll look for NFS. Okay, and that's going to set it for 2049. And now we just need to allow the security group for our EC2 theirs. So I believe we called it, so I just started typing my, and so we have my EC2 EFS SG. And so now we shouldn't have any issues with mounting because we probably do need that to gain access. Okay, and so now we'll go back and see how our instances are doing. So it looks like they're ready to go. So now that they're in good shape, we can actually go gain access to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Systems Manager. So type SSM and make a new tab here, okay? And we're going to wait for this to load here. And on the left-hand side, we're going to go to Sessions Manager. And we're going to start a session. And so there are both of our instances. We probably should go name them. It'll just make our lives a lot easier. So I'm going to say EC2 EFS A, okay? and then we have EAC2 EFS B. All right, and so we'll just go back here, do a refresh, and there are 2 instances. So we need to launch an instance for this one, okay? And I'm gonna have to start there, and then I'm gonna have to make another session here and start it for a B. All right. Okay, and so now we have these 2 here, and we're going to have to switch to the correct user. So we are, as root user, we don't want to be that. We want to be the EC2 user, okay? So we will switch over to EC2 for A, assuming this one's A. Doesn't really matter at this point because, it doesn't. But, and we'll just switch over here to the EC2 user here. All right, so now we are set up here, and we can go ahead and mount it there. So it's just a matter of copying this entire command. So we are going to need the sudo in there. So just make sure you include it. And we are just going to paste that in there. And we're going to mount. Okay, and it just says it doesn't exist. So we'll just fix this here in 2 seconds. All right, so that command failed because it has nothing to mount to. So we actually have to create a directory for it. Okay, so just here in the home directory, I'm just going to go make mkdir and type in EFS. Okay, and then we will just go up. And then we'll mount it. And so now it should mount to that new directory. So it is mounted. We're going to do the same story over here. Okay, so just to save us some time, I'm just going to copy these commands over. Okay. All right. Oops, we forgot the M there on the front. Okay, and then we will just copy over the same command here, and we will also mount EFS. Okay, so they should both be mounted now, and so I'm just going to do an ls, and we're going to go into that directory there. Okay, and we are just going to create any kind of file. So I'm going to say touch bejor.txt. Okay, and so I've touched that file. We cannot do that there, so we'll just type in sudo, and so I'll do an ls within that directory, and so that file is there. So now if I go over to this one here and do an ls and go into EFS and do an ls, there is that file. Okay, so that's how you can access files across instances using EFS. So that's all you need to know. So we are done. Okay, so we'll just terminate this instance here. Okay, and we will also terminate this instance here. Great, we will close that sessions manager. We will just kill our instances here, okay, because we are all done. And we'll go over to EFS. So it only costs for when we're consuming stuff, but since we're done with it, let's go ahead and tear this down. Okay, and we need to just copy this fella in here. And we're all good to go. So there you are. That is EFS in a nutshell.